Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. This is Einstein who said it. Are we insane or not?
You want to go first?
to start with okay. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over. Yeah, it's when we don't learn to face futility in life. And I'm going here to something that we say, and I say, and we say often. I've told you 1,000,000 times, I've told you 1,000 times. And then the question, if we switch that and we ask the parent, but what have you learned out of it? Why did you say it 1,000 times? It means you have not learned anything. Because you keep expecting the child to do exactly the same thing, and you keep expecting the child to do something different. And how do we learn to face futility? Gordon Neufeld, that I go to him so often because I like so much how he presents things. He says that we need tears to learn to face futility in life. And there I go to another point where we tell the child, don't cry anymore, don't be such a whiner, don't. But actually, the crying teaches them that something cannot be changed and that they have to accept it. What is it like for you? What's insanity?
I love what you shared. And I actually just wrote a blog post about that quote. And I feel like I want to go back and add what you said about why do we keep repeating ourselves when, it's that. I think it was like an aha moment for me when I read that quote and I really thought about it, because the other alternative is to really sit down and gather around the table, or get together and figure out what is going on and what needs to be changed. And when I tried that a few times, it works like a charm, and it works in so many beautiful ways. And other than it works, the values it brings out of like cooperation and problem solving and family culture and all that, I think it's a beautiful way to do it, as opposed to the repetition. And where I get these ideas is from Ross Greene's book, The Explosive Child. Mm-hmm. And also Adele and Elaine Maslet from How to Talk So Kids Will Listen. Mm-hmm. So they both have similar ways. And, for my family, we just did something that was like taking a bit of each. But the idea is, similar and simple in terms of what is happening. So if there's an issue, I'll take a step back. If there's an issue, there's a challenge, a struggle in the family, what can we do? For example, getting, ready late to go to school, or struggles at bedtime or homework, any of that, instead of the more common nagging and following up and why aren't you doing this? And I've told you 100 times, like you said, and many other very traditional ways. Instead of all that, is taking a step back and gathering around the table and saying, what's up? Like, I noticed this is happening. What's going on? And to hear from the child, why are they struggling? What is going on? What do they need? Many times the child needs something, and therefore they're unable to behave in that manner, or to show up in that way that is for the family. So taking the step back and allowing for the child to share, and then for the parent also to say why it's important for them, and then coming together to find a way how to make it happen. I think it's so beautiful and empowering, because the goal then becomes a joint goal between the mother and the child to reach something together, as opposed to mother versus the child. And then that dynamic becomes very egoistic, and it doesn't have that same cooperative energy.
Mm-hmm. I go here also to the sibling rivalry. That's one place where I often use this mirroring what each child needs, and then allowing them to find the solution, not for the solution to come from me, because we usually go in between them and we say, leave her alone, do that, stop doing that, don't hit, don't. But instead, if we go and, oh, you would like this and you want this, can you find a solution? It's very empowering for them. It also gets them very creative. And because we've been doing this for a long time, there's also a development in that. I can hear them whenever they have a fight, not each time, but most of the times they have a fight or there's something going on. One of them comes with, okay, let's see, do we have a solution? Let's find a solution. And it changes the dynamic. Instead of being stuck in the same, I've told you 1,000 times to stop doing that.
Absolutely. And it's also giving them the language and the tools to then use outside of the home. So if as a family, this is what we do, we problem solving, we find solutions, and it's not about what the parent wants or what about someone wants, it's about what everybody, like all the parties, what works out for everyone. And this reminds me also of, it's not about finding a compromise, because a compromise kind of makes me feel that each person has to compromise something. Whereas sometimes there is a solution where something is suitable for both people. It's not about giving or not having something or having something different from what you want, but something that works for everyone. It's that spirit of like teamwork and family and community and togetherness that it really empowers, as opposed to competitiveness.
Exactly. Yes, it puts everyone at the same level, kind of, instead of having a hierarchy of, I don't know, being above and being below. And
absolutely. And I think the quote also, it's like a sign, like a red flag, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is insanity. And if something really isn't working, then it's time to take a step back and just observe, and question and reflect, why isn't it working? Mm-hmm. And it also speaks of, I know there's, merit to being persistent, but there's also merit to knowing when to stop. Mm-hmm. And nagging and drilling in something that's not working, that's not persistence. That is, just
insanity.
Exactly. Thank you. So it's knowing when to stop and to make a different choice.
I'm going back to Maria Montessori again, because she said, whenever you start saying to the child not to do something, like you start nagging the child, take a step back and see what you can change in the environment. It's not the child, it's the environment. And where I go here, for instance, if I start telling them too often to pick up their clothes, then it happened. And then I stop and I look, they have too many clothes. Like we put in a bag a lot of them. And then they have a place for each, and they go and they put, and it's not so many. If I feel overwhelmed, then it means I need to change something in the environment. It's not the child. If we tell them to put their toys back, they have too many toys, maybe, or that, because we tend to overflow them with words, with toys, with activities, with actions. We tend to overflow them. So also take a step back and check the environment.